Hey everyone, I've got a little bit of a different video for you today. I just wanted to kind of talk more informally about an experience that I've been going through that I think people can probably relate to. One of the tricky things about being and I kind of even hate using this word, like a content creator in the mental health or psychology, personal growth space, is that so much of your work is tied to your presentation out in the world. Why would you want to learn how to be more psychologically healthy from somebody who doesn't really present themselves as being super psychologically healthy? Same thing for mindful, productive, whatever it is that you're looking to grow in your life. And I've just been having this experience over the last couple of weeks where I've done a lot of questioning about the work that I'm doing out in the world. Am I actually helping anyone with the content that I'm creating? And maybe even more kind of selfishly, importantly for myself, am I truly fulfilled by what I'm doing? And when I was experiencing this, I started kind of scrolling through my Instagram, which, is always a dangerous game. And I saw all of these other creators, people I really look up to in a lot of ways, who project just such a curated image of themselves, particularly on social media, but even when they do things like podcasts or they come on my podcast, they talk about some topic and they appear extremely well put together, like they just love what they're doing. And every day they kind of jump out in the morning and they're so excited to be getting up to whatever they're getting up to that day. And I just wanted to kind of take a moment here and be really authentic about the fact that that is not always the case for me. There are a lot of days where I am not sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not sure that I'm doing the thing that's going to grant me the most fulfillment, happiness in this, at least in my view, this one lifetime that we all have on this big, beautiful planet, where I feel like I'm just kind of counting the minutes until I die, to put it kind of morbidly sometimes. And I think that that's a really normal human experience. Like we all go through that from time to time where we're not sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing or what we should be doing out in the world. And one of the real challenging parts of that experience is scrolling through that Instagram feed or that Facebook feed or whatever and learning from all of these people who are projecting that immensely curated image. And what I can just tell you from personal experience, having talked to a lot of these people, having heard about their actual real life, is that, man, there is a big difference between the way that they're actually feeling and what they're projecting through those various platforms a lot of the time. That's not to say that there aren't a lot of people out there who are truly, authentically, really happy and really developed and have gotten a lot of personal value out of the practices that they teach. Of course, there are plenty of people like that, but that's not everybody. I don't even know if that's most people, frankly. And everyone, I think, deals with this experience of uncertainty and the dark night of the soul and just kind of general ennui at life, whether you're a self help content creator or you're just a really normal person. And sometimes it feels to me that we have a hard time having really authentic conversations about this because the people who tend to drive those conversations, well, if they go out and they're really open about the ways in which they're not fulfilled by life or they're still searching for fulfillment in their work or that they have those dark nights of the soul, it kind of damages their personal brand. People might not want to take their course on lasting well being if they're projecting an image where they don't have lasting well being. I've learned a lot of stuff from a lot of people focused on getting the most out of life, how to change for the better, how to develop all of these psychological skills, how to be more effective in my relationships. And I'd be lying if I said that that stuff hasn't been super helpful. It absolutely has. I wouldn't be doing the work that I'm doing today if I didn't think that that stuff was useful. But what I'm really saying is that there's no magic bullet here. And I think it's really normal for people to have accumulated a lot of skills, a lot of useful practices, but to still have this underlying experience, maybe beneath it all, of something missing, something not quite there yet. And a lot of the people who have spent their lives teaching those psychological skills of different kinds have the same experience. Like that might just be a part of being human, regardless of all of the tactics that I've accumulated over the last, I don't know, like 12 years or so of really spending some time in this personal growth space. I still have plenty of days that aren't great. that are stressful, where I really doubt myself, where I really question whether or not I'm doing anything that's actually useful. And I'm still on that quest for fulfillment personally. And that's part of the subtext, I think, of what I'm saying here, which is that I come from a background that is really enormously privileged. I've had a lot of things go my way in life, and I feel enormously blessed for all of them, ranging from being a straight white guy to being raised in a fairly affluent area in California, to having opportunities for education, to having a dad who became a psychologist, wrote a book that did pretty well, and all of a sudden opened all of these doors that I've now been able to walk through. And so, underneath that feeling of am I fulfilled is this question of like, wow, if this is the hand that I've been dealt, and I'm still kind of struggling with this question, then is it just kind of part of being human that we keep on grasping for these things? Shouldn't I be deeply fulfilled inside of that context? Is there something that's wrong with me that this is still a question that I'm asking? Particularly when I compare myself to all of the other people who are doing work like this who seem immensely fulfilled by the work that they're doing, particularly when you take a little time to do that merry walk through Instagram or Facebook or whatever else, where these incredibly curated versions of people are being presented. And we receive the absolute highlight reel of their life and compare it to kind of the fullness of ours. Like, that's a recipe for feeling just really shitty about yourself on a semi regular basis. To me, this is one of the big challenges inside of the whole self help industrial complex. This incredibly close marriage between people's presentation, their like image out in the world, and how successful they become, whether or not people are willing to buy their books and their programs or listen to their podcast, watch their videos, whatever else. And it's part of why I really appreciate it whenever creators are open and authentic about the real challenges that they're experiencing in their own life. And I think that these two things kind of travel together, fulfillment and authenticity, right? And the more inauthentic that we are about whether or not every day is truly the most glorious day of our lives, the more challenging it's going to become to actually achieve fulfillment in any kind of lasting way. It's a little bit like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? The first step is admitting that you've got a problem. And I think that a lot of people have a fulfillment problem. And I'm not sure that the content that's generally made inside of this space is doing a whole lot to address it in a really systemic way. And one of the reasons for that is that in order to talk about not being fulfilled, you have to be honest about not being fulfilled some of the time. Even after all the work I've done in this territory, the work I've done on myself, the book that I helped write, whatever, there are still a lot of days where my feet hit the floor and I'm not happy to be there. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not excited about the work that I'm doing. I feel like I'm just marking time. And then there are also days where my feet hit the floor and I'm incredibly excited and I do feel truly fulfilled. And I'm still working to understand what the difference is between those days and the previous days when the external circumstances really haven't changed that much between the two of them. And of course, the whole game, the whole point is to have more of the fulfilled days and fewer of the unfulfilled days. But I think that we're just kidding ourselves if we act like you stop having the unfulfilled days. And like there's some point that you get to where you achieve perfect fulfillment all the time. I wish that for people. I wish that for myself, but I just don't think it's a real thing. And so if you're interacting with somebody's content and they're projecting that image to you, there's something about it that is inherently false. And that's okay. Like that's the game we're all playing here, the game of clicks, the game of likes, the game of whatever. But it's not real. It's not real life. It's not their authentic experience. And at least for me, it's helpful to really tune into that and to really get a sense of some of the people out there who are creating stuff where they're being really transparent about their authentic emotional experience of the world and what's actually achievable inside of this whole self-help personal growth space. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this more kind of informal, less scripted, sit down. If you like videos like this, I'm happy to make more of them in the future. I also hope I wasn't just rambling at a camera with my little microphone over here and that you found some value in what I was talking about today. So until next time, thanks for watching.